guys, by request I've decided to make some sort of tutorial series on how to play KSP and how to get your rockets in orbit and beyond. So this is going to be a very basic tutorial using the career mode, of course, to sort of kill both birds here at the same time. Now, one friend of mine just started playing KSP actually yesterday, and yesterday I referred to the day of January 2nd, 2014. Now, of course, there's a couple of people who want to know how to gain science the most efficient way in Kerbal Space Program as well, so I'm gonna be playing in career mode. Of course, career mode restricts me to several actual parts, and especially the demo does too. So those kind of correlate until you get into the higher stages. So for the lower stages, this thing is gonna work for both people. So let's go ahead and start it. So here you are in the start screen. It may look different on the demo version, but whatever version you're on, you always have the Vehicle Assembly Building. This is the place where you basically build all your rockets and stuff like that. Now, to build your first rocket, you're gonna go on the left side here and grab this command pod Mark 1. Now you're gonna place it down like this, and actually, you sort of wanna click on it and drag it all the way to the top of the Vehicle Assembly Building, so you have some space below, a lot of space below actually, to work on your rockets. So now, next step is actually adding some fuel. So now this fuel is what's gonna basically get your rockets. This is basically gonna be your rocket propellant. Of course, you can adjust the amount of fuel which you take on a mission by right-clicking this, the tank. Now, next thing is actually adding some sort of communication to your ship. This, of course, communication is not available in the demo version, but this I am sort of doing for the people who decided to do career mode. So now, next, the most important thing, you're going to land this thing to get the career mode achievement, such as which is called science. Now, of course, to land this thing, you need some sort of parachute to sort of slow it down or something. Anyway, obviously add a parachute. Make sure that parachute and engines don't start at the same time. So go to the lower right hand side here and adjust your staging so that the engine fires before the parachute opens. Now I'm just gonna name this first rocket. Make sure that you save your design, and now go ahead and launch it. Now, of course, on the launch pad here you have this sort of place that is gonna keep your rocket here. So now let's go ahead and use Shift key to throttle up, go all the way to the maximum. Now press T to enable SAS. SAS is basically what's keeping your ship under control and helps you sort of make sure it's not spinning around. That's probably the best way I can do it. Anyway, for people who are doing career mode, let's EVA using our person here and get an EVA report outside of the capsule. That's going to get you 5.6 science. Now go ahead and board the ship, and before you start up your engines, you want to transmit that information. So when your engine is actually firing, it is going to recharge your electrical charge and therefore give you more electric charge to communicate back with your officials here at the Kerbal Space Facility. Anyway, I think it is time to fire up our rockets. So let's go ahead and press space. And here we go, we're accelerating really fast here because this is a really small rocket. You can see that right here, and if you right-click, that you're running out of fuel. Obviously, this is also recharging your electrical charge, so go ahead and get crew reports and transmit that data as well while you're still getting your electric charge recharged, so to say. Alright, very nice. Now, when your rocket completely runs out of fuel, wait until your speed of going up actually turns into the trajectory of falling down. That's the time when you want to open the parachute. You do not want to open the parachute right now because it may fracture due to the fact that you're actually going up. Now you can obviously time work to accelerate this process, and here you are, you're now falling. You're free falling towards the earth. Now turn off your SAS and enable the parachutes. Now to enable the parachute, you of course separate the staging by pressing space key. Go ahead and speed up time using either pressing it right here or using the period and the comma key. There you go, you go down and make sure that your time warp is down all the way before the parachute opens. And the parachute opens at about 600 to 500 meters depending where you are on the Kerbin planets. Alright, so now let's see. Of course, the parachute here opens. You can obviously set the height at which your parachute opens and the minimum atmospheric pressure, which I'm gonna get on in the next episode. So let's go ahead, time warp. Now that our parachute is open, it is safe to time warp. Now, let's see. Let's see what's gonna happen right now. Of course, we were going really fast, so the engine actually destroyed because the speed at which we were going down was higher than the impact tolerance of the engine. Now, of course, the engine absorbed all the speed and the fuel tank remained intact. Alright, now let's go ahead and make another crew report since we're outside of the launch pad and we can get 1.5 additional science here. Let's keep that data, obviously. And now let's also EVA using our curvables and see if we can get any data this way. Of course we cannot because we already did an EVA reports using our actual, during our actual ascent. So let's go ahead and jump down and take a surface sample, of course. That's gonna get you 9.0 science and get another EVA reports. So now you want to hover over your space key right here and recover the vessel. Of course, for demo version, this feature is not available, so go ahead and pause the game and end the flight in the demo version. Alright, here we can see that we have 11.4 science earned on this mission. Actually, it was 20 because we transmitted some information as well. So let's go ahead and collect done right here and go to the research and development facility. Now, of course, you want to unlock your stuff, so go ahead and research this object. And since we have just the right amount of science, we can obviously wait, or we can go ahead and research these parts. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and research these parts. Very nice. Now you can see that we've spent all of our science, and we have more access to unlock our next science step. So go ahead and close the window and go back to your medical assembly building to build your second rocket. Now, of course, click the new, and you're going to be sent to a completely new rocket. Completely new design thingy window. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and name the second rocket so I don't get confused. Obviously, we cannot save when we do not have parts on this. So go ahead and place the command module. Of course, place the same exact parachute. But now, what we have here is bad boy decoupler. So now you're gonna press go ahead and put it under the capsule. So you would separate the capsule from the rest of the ship, and therefore will continue with lesser mass. Alright, we can use the same concept to separate rocket fuel, but I'm gonna get at that in a second. Okay, go ahead and place your mystery goo on both sides of the craft. And now, of course, don't forget your communicatron, the most important object in Kerbal Space Program Career Mode. So go ahead now and place the small tank under your decoupler and again the smallest engine. Now the smallest engine is what's probably gonna get us some speed at the very end of our flight when we basically have no mass at all and we don't need to have as much propulsion to separate us. Now go ahead and add some fuel tanks, two preferably, and of course add the engine. Now, since you can separate your stuff, go ahead and put a decoupler under it, and now put an empty big fuel tank. Make sure it's empty, so empty it out. You cannot do this in demo version, by the way. Okay, so let's go ahead and place the solid rocket booster right here, the bad boy. And now, of course, if we have any aerodynamic parts, which we do not have, you could go ahead and place the nose cones, but we're gonna unlock that next time. So let's go ahead and save rocket and launch. Now, right off the bat, we notice that our staging is incorrect, so go ahead and drag this rocket, this engine, down to here. So you want to fire up the engine as soon as the decoupler separates so you don't get confused. And again, do that for the upper stage. Okay, let's go ahead and enable SAS. Now, launch your freaking SRBs. So you see that SRBs are getting you quite a bit of velocity here. It is actually quite well. Let's go ahead and get a goo reports. And keep the data, and of course, your thingies are overheating. So go ahead and rotate your ship before they explode, and fire up your main engine. Of course, this is probably not gonna work very well, is it? Nope, it's gonna explode any second now. There it goes, it blew off your engine. This happens to me all the time in KSP, so go ahead, just blow it off and continue on your actual next stage. Next time, we're obviously gonna make sure that this thing don't happen because it was a shame. Anyway, let's go ahead and let our fuel to run out. We of course want to get the most the most height we can get, obviously. So we're not gonna do a gravity turn. We're just gonna follow our highest speed here. Of course, once the fuel tank is out, we're going to separate the stage. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. Fuel tank is out. Separate the stage now. And here we are in suborbital trajectory, aiming somewhere towards the ocean, which is really nice. Now let's go ahead and speed up physical time here, and of course we're gonna re-enter. So turn off your SAS. So we're basically gonna time accelerate here, obviously, because we don't want to see all that kind of movement and stuff. Of course, our pilot is very happy because our pilot is Jebediah. Who else could be happier than Jebediah Kerman? Alright, of course you're spinning because you don't have SAS enabled. Okay, let's go ahead and while you're in the ocean, take another good reports. Now, of course, this is going to grant you 7 more science, which is really useful in the flight. Now go ahead and take a crew report and you're going to get 3.5 more additional science. You want to keep this data before you go. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are re-entering the atmosphere and we can get some sort of burn here, actually, if you're going high enough. But since we're not going really fast, we of course are going to get down to 7,500 meters, of which we're going to pop the chute. In 3, 2, 1, pop the chute. Of course, the chute is going to slow you down, so time warp, and at about 750 meters, we're going to slow down our time warp and make sure that our parachute opens properly here. Alright, I think it's about time now. There we go, we popped our chute and our speed is down to 7.4 meters per second, which is, of course, lower than the impact tolerance of this thing, so it's all good. Alright, now you want to go ahead and transmit that one science report, and of course you almost depleted all of your energy. So go ahead, and once you land, you're going to take another one. Bulk. Alright. Very nice. Of course, now you want to go ahead and do another crew report, so you get 2.0 more additional science. Now go ahead and EVA using your Kerbal, and get another EVA report in the water itself. Go ahead and keep that data. Now lower yourself so you're able to take a surface sample somehow. So go ahead and jump off. Nope, do not overrate your EVA reports. Take a surface sample. 12.0 science, very nice. Now go ahead and jump back. Somehow, I don't know, find a way. Grab and board your ship, and of course recover the vessel. Now very nice. We got 38.6 science, adding up to total 42 science to do our researches and stuff like that. So we're gonna go ahead and of course unlock both of these things, and of course the sideways decoupler is gonna be really useful to us in the beginning. So go ahead and unlock that as well. Alright, now we have a lot of tech, and we're obviously gonna be able to separate more stuff now. So let's go ahead into the VAB and build our next rocket, which is probably gonna go into orbit today. So of course grab your old command pod jewel, get it? Huh? Alright, now go ahead and obviously stick some goo on it. Maybe even 3 would be good, but I am gonna stick with 2. Of course, now add your communicatron, don't forget that. And now, of course, separate your staging. And let's go ahead and place this FLT 200 fuel tank, and under it the small liquid 99 engine, and place a decoupler. There we go. Now this is what's basically gonna get in out of orbits. So let's go ahead and continue our staging here. We're gonna place a few more fuel tanks, and ultimately more fuel tanks, of course. Now place the LVT-45 new line unlocked engine, and under it another decoupler. So now what you want to put is 3 more FLT-400 fuel tanks, and of course at the bottom the LVT-30, your liquid fuel engine. Alright, next step is actually adding some radial decouplers, so you'll be able to decouple those strange little overheating SRBs. Now they're not little anymore. Guess what? You have the Rockamax BAACC solid rocket booster. But of course, for the sake of the people in the demo, we're gonna use the default RT something 1. Of course, now this is not the best thing to do, since this is gonna put all the weight on this rocket. Now go wait for me until I add the aerodynamic nose cones, and after that, of course, I'm gonna add some more decouplers at the bottom. And guess what? I'm such a genius. Yes, you're right. I'm gonna get more solid rocket boosters at the bottom as well. Now you want these to fire off as soon as these separate. and then your main engine to fire off turns these separate. So next, again, correct your staging, obviously, and this is a 6-stage rocket in the end. So go ahead and name that third rocket, save the game, and launch. Now, since at this point I pretty much explained most of the sense, I'm probably gonna go speed up time using my video editor. Of course, do not speed up time during this ascent when you're actually playing, because that's basically the reason why people's rockets break. Oh look! We forgot to recover our first rocket. What a shame! We're gonna go ahead back into our space center once we are back from using this rocket. Once we're back from this flight, alright, go ahead and fire your SRBs. Very nice now. You're going really fast, actually. So let's see. Bum 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 bum. Now, of course, your SRBs are starting to overheat, but it is okay as long as the overheat button when you add up the green and the red, they shouldn't add up together. If that makes any sense. Of course it doesn't, it's explained by me. Anyway, once they're out of fuel, you want to separate them as quick as possible. So like this. Pew! Goodbye, SRBs. Welcome, new SRBs. Of course, these two thingies are gonna get you up all the way to 10,000 meters. This is my promise. They're gonna get you there. Of course, your rocket is starting to bend, but it is obviously okay. Since once the solid rocket boosters fall off, you're gonna have more control over your ship. Again, you should be doing some gravity turn once these things drop off, and there you go, they're dropping off in the distance. Now go ahead and try to press A key to rotate your ship towards the orbital inclination thing. And I'm referring to 40 degrees, of course. So now you should be getting some speed here. Of course, you're accelerating far beyond the supersonic stage. And of course, you're slowly getting out of that really dense atmosphere, which is going to be eventually really easy to get out of. Alright, now the lower, let's say the middle stage, because this is stage 4, this is going to carry off probably to, basically, you want this thing to get you an apoapse of somewhere around 100,000 meters. Now that's going to be a really good rocket if it gets to 100,000 meters. I mean the apoapse of 100,000 meters. After that, I'm gonna explain what to do further. 54, 55. Let me see what I can do. 56. I mean 60. 61. I'm not sure if the rocket is gonna last that long, obviously. But let's give it a try. 67, 68, 69, 70, 72, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 83, 84, 85, 86. Come on, last that long. 89, 90, 91, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98. Alright, that's close enough. Now, make sure you hit X so you stop, so your next rocket doesn't fire as fast. Alright, go ahead and time warp. Actually, you want to make sure that you add a maneuver right here, just slightly before you go, to make sure you get an orbital maneuver set up. Get an orbital maneuver. Very nice. And now be prepared to burn for the orbital maneuver. Now let's go ahead and test your rocket if it has. Yes, it has. And just at the right time, when these numbers match up, you want to fire up your rocket at maximum throttle. Be prepared in 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire. Now, of course, this stage should probably last us all the distance of getting about 1200 meters of delta V to get an orbit. It should, I'm not saying it will, depending on how well you were flying this thing, yeah, it's basically gonna differ every single time, depending on the person's style of playing. Of course, do the science stuff, get 10 more science, get an AVA report, I mean the crew report, 5.0 science, very nice, and while your charge is charging up, please go ahead and transmit the data that you can. Of course, remember never to transmit stuff that doesn't give you 100% return. It is easy to return that stuff and get the science that way. That's what most the noobs do, and then they complain they don't get enough science from it. Noobs that transmit goo reports and lab reports, which I'm gonna get into the next episode. Of course, I'm gonna end off the episode after we get this orbit and back, and of course, as you can see, we get a circle around the planets, and that indicates do you have some sort of orbit. Now, you want to make sure that your periapse and your apoapse sort of match. At least, you need basically need to ensure that your periapse is at least 100,000 meters. Now, please go ahead and enjoy your orbit while you can. And once we're basically there, we're gonna try to land next somewhere close to our facility. Now, at this point, you should be slowing down. Yes, you should be slowing down either at the apoapse or the periapse. It doesn't matter to you if you don't have enough fuel. If you're short on fuel, go ahead and slow down at the apoapse, because it will probably get you out of the orbital stage. Anyway, now this stage is gonna drop off any time now, and you basically want to slow down as much as you can in the atmosphere. I mean, using your rocket engines, because I'm not really sure the atmosphere is thick enough at this point. Anyway, fire up all the rocket engines you can to get you slowed down, so you enter the planet at this sort of stage. Yes, comrades. Alright. So, once we landed, I'm probably gonna end up the episode. Alright, it is time that we encounter the atmosphere, and our altitude is dropping really fast. Now make sure your SAS and RCS are off. I don't know why I had RCS on, but it doesn't matter. You're spinning like crazy, but it doesn't matter because you're re-entering the atmosphere. It is going to orient yourself any way you want. Alright, here come the flames. It burns, Jebediah. It goddamn burns, but the most important thing is that you're losing speed in this burn. Now, of course, I think it would be time to actually observe your mystery go. Yeah, I mean, if it's 1.6 science, don't do it. Don't. Alright, 7,500 meters, time to fire the chutes. And time warp until you're 500 meters, don't forget. Wait, is that a chute? Yes. I think it's time to slow down, actually. Yep, it's time, and at 500 meters, here comes the chute. Very nice, 7.3 meters per second, and this is totally a safe landing. I mean, watering, haha, get it? Haha, I'm so funny. I'm so funny. Alright, now let's wait until we basically enter the water. And after we enter the water, what we're gonna do? We're gonna take another good reports. What else can we do with this science experiment stuff? Of course, the 4.0 science, very nice. Recover the vessel. We don't care about the super sample of the VVAs, they've all been used up now. So now, as you can see, you're in 24 science by going into orbit and doing experiments there. So now we have 33 science. That's just about not enough. Alright guys, after this flight, I hope you enjoy this. I'll go onto the more exploration videos and more science, observe how to get more science from Kerbin itself. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time. This is Marat. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and do all the favorite stuff, especially comments. Please comment, I love comments. Alright, see you later guys. Goodbye.